Stop for a moment. Most of us imagine death as a single instant. The heart stops, the screen goes black, and everything ends. But biology does not work like a movie cut. When the heart stops, the body does not instantly become lifeless. Cells do not receive a command to shut down. Instead, systems begin to lose balance gradually. Chemical reactions continue. Electrical activity fades slowly, and it is inside this transition, between life and shutdown, that a strange claim appears. The idea that when we die, light comes out of our DNA. When we talk about death, most people imagine a single moment. A sudden stop, a switch turning off, but biologically, death is not instant. When the heart stops beating, the brain doesn't shut down immediately. For several minutes, cells inside the body are still active. Chemical reactions continue. Electrical signals slowly fade. Your body doesn't go silent all at once. It quiets down step by step. During this short window, something fascinating happens at the microscopic level. Inside every cell, energy is still being processed, especially inside DNA. DNA isn't just a storage unit for genetic information. It's an active, vibrating structure. It reacts to stress, damage, and extreme conditions. And death is the most extreme condition a cell can experience. Scientists have observed that when cells are damaged or die, they release tiny bursts of light. This phenomenon is known as biophoton emission. These are not metaphorical lights. They are real, measurable photons. The question is not whether light exists in the body. The question is what happens to that light at the moment of death. When scientists talk about light inside the human body, they're not talking about something mystical. They're talking about physics. Every living cell produces an extremely small amount of light, so small that the human eye can't see it, but sensitive instruments can. This light is called biophoton emission. Biophotons are released when cells undergo chemical reactions involving oxygen, especially reactions linked to stress, damage, or breakdown. In simple terms, when cells struggle, they glow. DNA plays a key role in this process. Inside the nucleus, DNA behaves like a tiny antenna. It absorbs and emits electromagnetic energy. Some researchers believe DNA doesn't just store information. It may also help coordinate communication inside the body using light. Under normal conditions, this light is stable and weak. But when cells begin to die, that balance changes. Experiments have shown that dying cells can release a sudden spike in photon emission, almost like a final flash. This doesn't mean the body lights up like a bulb. It means that, at a microscopic level, something very real is happening. So when people ask, does light come out of our DNA when we die? Science doesn't say yes in a dramatic way, but it also doesn't say no. What it says is this: life is accompanied by light, and death may be the moment that light fades. At this point, it's important to slow down and separate science from imagination. Because this is where things often get misunderstood. When people hear that light is involved in life and death, they immediately think of souls leaving the body. Bright flashes, energy escaping into the universe. But science is far more careful than that. Biophoton emission does not mean consciousness turning into light. It does not mean memories, thoughts, or identity glowing out of the body. What it means is simpler, and still incredible. Living systems are ordered. They constantly fight against chaos. The moment death begins, that order starts to collapse. Cells lose control, chemical reactions become unstable, and instability produces light. This light is not a message. It's not a signal saying, I am leaving. It's a physical consequence of breakdown. Think of it like this: when a machine overheats, sparks can appear. Not because the machine has a soul, but because energy is being released without control. In the body, DNA is deeply involved in managing energy. So when the system fails, DNA is part of that final reaction. That's why some experiments record increased photon activity near death. Not because of something supernatural, but because biology is reaching its limit. The real mystery isn't whether light exists. It's why life needs such precise balance to stay dark. Many people who come close to death report something similar. They talk about light, a brightness, a sense of moving towards something glowing. This has led to a powerful question. Is this light the same light scientists measure at the cellular level? The answer is no. But the confusion is understandable. Near-death experiences happen in the brain, not outside the body. When oxygen levels drop suddenly, the brain reacts in extreme ways. Visual areas become overstimulated, normal filtering systems shut down, This can produce tunnel vision, flashes, and an overwhelming sense of brightness. It feels real because, to the brain, it is real. But this light is not leaving the body. It is being created inside the nervous system. At the same time, something very different is happening at the cellular level. While the brain is generating intense internal images, cells throughout the body are losing control of their chemistry. So we end up with two kinds of light happening near death. One psychological, one physical. They are separate processes, but they occur at the same time. And this overlap is where stories grow. Personal experiences blend with scientific observations. Meaning fills the gaps. Science doesn't deny the experience, but it explains it without turning it into mythology. Understanding this doesn't make the experience less meaningful. It simply places it where it belongs, inside the human mind and body. Here's where science places its final line. The light people describe in near-death experiences is created by the brain under extreme stress. It feels external, but it is internal. At the same time, cells across the body are undergoing a completely different process. They are losing control of their chemistry. These two things happen together, but they are not the same phenomenon. One is perception, the other is physics, and confusing the two is where myths begin. The light measured in dying cells does not represent identity or awareness. It represents structure. Life is organized energy. Death is the loss of that organization. When structure collapses, energy is released. Sometimes as heat, sometimes as chemical reactions, and sometimes, faintly, as light. This is not poetic, it is thermodynamics. DNA becomes involved because it sits at the center of cellular control. When repair mechanisms fail, DNA strands break and react chemically. Those reactions can increase photon emission. The light does not come from DNA as a message. It comes around DNA as chemistry loses control. That distinction matters. Because it removes drama, there is no moment of escape, no final transformation into something else. There is only release, energy spreading back into the system it came from. And that challenges how we emotionally imagine death. So when we ask the question one last time, does light come out of us when we die? Science gives us an answer that is quieter than mythology, but far more precise. At the smallest biological level, measurable light-related changes do occur during death. Not suddenly, not dramatically, and not in a way our eyes could ever see. But at the scale of cells and molecules, the release of energy leaves traces. This is not the soul leaving the body. It is not consciousness escaping into space. It is the final stage of organization breaking down. Life is not defined by a single substance. It is defined by order. Cells constantly fight against entropy. They repair damage. They control reactions. They keep energy tightly regulated. Death begins when that regulation fails. And when regulation fails, energy no longer stays hidden. It spreads, sometimes as heat, sometimes as chemical reactions, and sometimes, faintly, as light. This is why scientists are careful with their words. They do not say that death produces light in a mystical sense. They say that dying cells behave differently from living ones. And that difference can be measured. What makes this unsettling is not the light itself, but what it reveals about life. Life is not a thing we possess. It is something we maintain. Every second we are alive, our bodies are actively preventing collapse. The moment that effort stops, the system does not vanish. It unwinds, slowly, predictably, according to the laws of physics. There is no sharp boundary, no clear line between life and non-life, only a transition, and within that transition, the final physical signatures of life appear. The faint light detected in dying cells is not a message meant for us. It is not meaning, it is not memory, it is evidence. Evidence that life is an organized flow of energy, and death is the moment that flow loses its structure. Understanding this does not make death smaller. It makes life more extraordinary. Because it reminds us that being alive is not passive. It is active resistance against chaos. And every moment that resistance holds, we exist. So the real story is not about light at death. It is about order during life. And once you see it that way, the question changes. Not, what happens when we die? But, how remarkable is it that we are alive at all? If you enjoy exploring science without exaggeration, fear, or fantasy, and if you value understanding over comforting myths, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Here, we don't chase dramatic answers. We follow the evidence, wherever it leads.